I don't think I've quite caught up with Lynn, but I'm getting close. You need to stop and I need to catch up.
Yeah.
That's the rule. Well, good afternoon. I'm going to mess around here for a minute, get my screen into a PowerPoint. Give me just 1 second here. Not wrong. Try one more time. This is always the hardest part of doing Zoom.
Because you have a couple of screens, is that
I
right?
have a couple of screens.
Yeah.
And one of them's an Etch-a-Sketch, which gets confusing.
That's the word I normally use, especially when I'm doing insurance. Right?
Oh, yeah.
This is your savings.
There we go. Does that look like the right screen now?
Yeah, that's the right one. Jumpstart your business with networking. That's why we're all here.
That's why we're here. That's awesome. Well, I did want to take just a minute and tell you who I am. My name's Jeff Mays, obviously. You see that all over the screen. But I'm a insurance agent, and I've done other things, and I still do other things like coaching. And over the years, what I've found is that, when I started in this business about 10 years ago, I had been out trying to do other businesses, and I was having a lot of failure. And I think a lot of what I did was based upon what I'd done before. When I worked in the corporate world, I was a corporate sales manager. I had a limited number of people that I dealt with. And it was really, I had 8 salespeople. I had 1,000 customers or so divided among those 8 salespeople. And it was really easy. I just was there to close deals and make it happen. Well, things changed over time, and that job went away. Companies like I was in decided they didn't need people like me, and they let me go my way. And when that happened, I had to make a change. Well, I started out, as Becky mentioned, I started out doing some coaching. I was having a difficult time figuring out who my customer was and who that customer could be. And then, once I kind of got a icon, or whatever you want to call it, a persona for that customer, then I was having a hard time finding how to reach them. And I figured out very quickly that there was something called networking. Now, the only networking I'd done before had been with computers and hooking them together in a series around an office. And that was networking too, but completely different kind of networking. So I was kind of excited to learn about networking. Right along the way there, I think it was, almost 13 years ago, I'd seen something on a Google group, I believe it was, or a Yahoo group, that Becky had posted. And she said something about, learn how to network and be better and do this and do that. I was like, well, I'll give her a call. So she invited me to go to a meeting, and that meeting was actually hosted by Lynn at the time. And it was a B2B, business-to-business group for networking professionals. And it was really a good group. I belonged to that group for a lot of years. In fact, still, I still belong to it. We're not holding meetings in Vancouver right now.
Yeah.
But, I figured out real quickly that there's a lot of ways to do things, no matter what business you're in. You can go out and spend a lot of money on leads, buying leads. You can go out and spend a lot of money doing advertising. My personal favorite advertising is skywriting, but on a cloudy day, it doesn't work so good. So I decided I needed to do something else. And I started looking at the networking idea, and here's kind of what I figured out. I may not be 100% right, but I think it'll give you an idea of why you need network. Is that you want to build a local database. You're trying to build a local company. And with that idea, there's lots of other business professionals out there that are trying to do exactly what you're doing. They're trying to build a business, and they're trying to find somebody that they can not only refer to, but that they can do business with. So I go to a networking event, we're not necessarily looking for customers, we're looking for business partners who will be great fits so that, I have people today that I helped 10 years ago with insurance that still call me or show up and say, hey, do you know a great CPA? I had a customer come in yesterday and ask me that question. It doesn't take me long. I pull out 3 cards. That's my technique, is I pull out 3 cards and give them 3 cards and say, here you go. call these 3 people, let me know if it works. If it doesn't work out, let me know and I'll give you some more folks to call. I trust and believe in those 3 people I gave him. I told him about each one of them. And I'm not sure which one fits him the best, but one of those people will likely be his new CPA. So really important that you build that network. You've got power partners out there that you can partner with and connect with and refer to. You know, the next thing, and this is really more since COVID, I can't believe I just said that word.
I know.
I got in trouble saying the C word and saying for the P word. So normally I just say the damn pandemic. And since the damn pandemic, the world's changed. And one of the things that I've found, and I think you will too, is that it's more easy to build a national team or a national group of people that you can deal with. I was talking to Dottie Scott, who's going to be doing one of these webinars pretty quick. Yep, a couple of days ago, I think it's Friday. But we're talking about it, and she said, you know, my business used to be based in Washington and Oregon, not equally, but just in the 2 states. And now my business is in like 30-some states. By forcing ourselves out into networking online, we've been able to grow our businesses on a much wider variety of areas, bigger base. We can be more specific about what we want to do, and we're able to really help more people that need help in places that might not have professions that we do. So I think it's really important now.
If you've got a small specific niche, that really helps, because
It
you're no
really
longer
does.
working in a local or a region. You really do have the entire country. I know a lot of people that have really expanded their business in the last 2 years.
That's exactly right. So the other thing that you're doing is that you're really building a sales team. You know, I know some small business professionals that hire salespeople to go out and sell for them. And I would rather train 5, 6, 8, 10 people in a group to sell for me and be my representative. So when somebody says, oh, do you know anybody? Or what do you think about? And boom, they think about me or they think about you. And by doing that, I was able to expand my sales force, my sales territory, and you know, I go all over about 6 states now, which I wasn't doing in 10 years ago when I started the insurance business. So I think that's really important too. Training that sales team really helps everybody out there, not only to sell for me, but to sell for each other. And that's one of the great advantages of networking. You know, getting ideas and feedback on your business is really big. Over the years of networking groups that I've attended, we've had a lot of people come in for the first time. They've never been to a meeting before. And lots of times they hadn't really discovered what their niche is. But you know, if you sit down with a mastermind group or a networking group and work through some of that, you can pretty much smoke out that niche that really fits your business. And if it doesn't fit, that's just as important. You don't want to spend a lot of time. I know so many people who spend thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever it is. And then they find out, I really don't know who my target is. I don't know who my business partners are. I have no idea how to do what I'm doing. And they've spent a whole bunch of money. Networking really helps you figure that out. If you sit down with some people, you know, people like Lynn and Becky and Alan, they've been around doing this sort of thing for quite a while. They can probably tell you really quick if your sales pitch is good, if your elevator pitch is good, and how to help, because those are great people and groups that help you do that. And of course, practicing public speaking is what? There's 2 fears in life, death and public speaking. I'm not sure which one people are more afraid of, but it's probably public speaking if you get right down to it. Because you know you're going to die and you might have to speak. But it's the public speaking part of it. I think, you know, I'm truly an introvert. You probably don't know that now. I'm talking to a computer by myself, right? I'm okay. But I'm not really comfortable standing up in front of a group. I still get nervous, and I've done a lot of it in the last 10 years. But that really helped me to get going, is to start in networking groups and to really practice public speaking, practice a presentation, practice an introduction. I mean, I go through my introduction now. I don't even have to think about it. I do it 5 or 6 times a week, and it's the same. Really, every time. I might change it up a little. It's really important. And then, of course, when you're starting out, especially, the number one most important thing that most of us run into is we can spend all of our money on advertising, we can spend all of our money doing things that don't work. But if you go and you get into a networking group, whether it's online or in person, it's really a whole lot less expensive. Now, my niche, I'm just thinking about this today, so I looked at that. My niche of insurance, if I go out and type in auto insurance in the Google keywords index, it's $1,133 a week if I go through them to try to get those
Wow.
quotes. No way can I afford that. But you look at Geico, you look at some of the big companies. Geico spent $2.3 billion last year. Can I compete with that?
No.
Can't do it. So we'll go through some of this really quick because it's not that exciting. I just want to give you an idea of what happened with me. 2010, I started the coaching business. In 2012, I decided I really wanted a residual income business that would be multi-generational and support my family. So that new business was insurance. And in the insurance business in 2012, I basically had nothing. I started from zero. I was in a town that I lived in, but I didn't really know anybody because I worked in another town, mostly in the city, most of the time. So I really needed to start over, and it was not easy. But I figured out real quick over the course of that year that networking was going to be the big thing for me. In 2013, I started going to 2 weekly networking groups. I wasn't really doing anything but showing up. I gave 4 referrals during that year. That's not very many. And I received 15 referrals. And I got 12 new clients. You know, one of the things about insurance, everybody needs it, so it's really easy to refer to an insurance agent. So it worked out good for me, but I look back at that and I go, that wasn't that fair of a trade. I got a lot more than I received. So 2019, I started doing more networking meetings. And I've done all kinds of networking meetings. I've run all kinds of groups in the last 4 or 5 years. It's been an amazing and growing experience, everything from, Rotary and paid networking groups and free networking groups and everything else that you can do. I've done a lot. I can't say I've done it all, but I've done a lot. And in that year, I gave 27 referrals in 19. I connected 72 power partners. I started tracking because it was just as important for me to connect somebody like Lynn, who's a merchant processor, with somebody that's going out, maybe a Comcast cable guy. He knows where those people are going to go and set up new businesses, and they need a new merchant services account. So I started really looking more for connections of power partners, how to help those people really connect. And then by doing that, there's this law of reciprocity. Right? I give something out, you feel like you need to give something back to me. So what happened? I didn't give them necessarily referrals, but all of a sudden, I'm getting 112 referrals that year, and we had 97 new clients.
Wow.
That to me was remarkable in 2019.
So you must be a numbers guy.
I have to track things.
Well, the
Alan does the same thing.
power partner connections are gold. They're absolute gold because that, instead of a referral, that can end up being ongoing business for somebody for years to come.
That's right. And those power partners, I know, my business insurance, a lot of times the best power partner you can have is a mortgage broker. And some of those mortgage brokers have turned out to be, it's like digging in a vein of gold. Because they just keep sending me more and more stuff. And that's great. So 2020 changed. Everything went crazy, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, on March 17th, I closed down my office. I went home. I hunkered down in my basement. And I waited for the next thing to happen. And if you ever watch any of those old videos I was making every day back then, I was thinking it was going to be over in June. Boy, was I wrong. But that year turned out to be the best year that I've ever had.
Wow.
Our networking groups, I expanded a little bit more. I started going to 6 groups at that point. A lot easier to go to networking because it's online.
Yeah.
You can sit here with no cost. No, you don't have to drive any place. You don't have to drive a half hour someplace. You drive a half hour home. All of a sudden, it became much easier. It was really a good year. That year was massive growth. It was amazing. I don't have those exact numbers back here, but I do. But we had a lot going on. I hired a couple of agents. They were working for me, and we just had a great year. Then in 2021, everything came to a stop. I don't know what happened. Every year, things get a little light in January. I was talking to lunch at one of my networking meetings today. I was talking to the owner of the business. So January was empty, just nothing happened. And I said, well, it was kind of for me too. But last year, it was more than that. There was nothing going on for a couple of months. Things went kind of dead. I remember talking to Becky about it. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. And what you do is you go right back to what works. Lynn just mentioned. You go back and you find those power partners and you start reconnecting. We had a really bad thing happen in Washington last year about that time, and it was the insurance commissioner made some changes. I had a great platform to go out and reach out to mortgage brokers statewide, and I did that. And I started emailing those folks the videos I was doing, and telling them what was going on, what might happen, what might not happen, how it would happen. All of a sudden, I've got 4 more of those great power partners, Michael, Vina Gold, I'm digging in it. I've got 4 new ones, and things went nuts. In 6 months, I was doing about what I'd done in 2019. Now, to me, I don't know how much I'd have to pay. I know the average lead for a leads company is about $42. So what's that? $44,000 to get those 120 leads. But in order to get 120 leads that would pay off, I probably have to buy 3 times that. Because usually 1 out of 3 is actually real. They sell you stuff that's bonus. So to me, this was a great improvement. And I look at this and I go, this is what I want. This is the way I'm doing it. So what really made the difference? The biggest thing I can tell you that helped me was I became a leader in the groups that I'm in. And if you're in a group, and every group needs leaders, whether they ask for it or not, they need somebody to do something. And that's really important. But when you take that leadership role, people get to know you. And really what we're doing in networking, right? We're looking to get to know, like, and trust the people that we deal with. If you're in a group for very long, you're going to know, like, and trust the leaders in particular because they're doing a lot of the talking. They're spending a lot of time helping people. And even if it has nothing to do with their business, they're helping people do the things they need to do in the network. And one rule I know, I'm sure Lynn will agree with me, is that leaders get leads. It's just really simple. Because people know, like, trust, and refer to them regularly. So, why be a leader? There's a few good reasons right there. The other thing that I think you really have to focus on is giving qualified referrals when you can. And there's times where you might think, well, yeah, if I had that guy's card, I could give the referral. Or there's times you think about, well, I don't know this guy that well. I don't think I'm comfortable with him. But you have to go with it. You have to say, okay, I need to make the effort to get to know everybody that I deal with so that I'm able to refer them with no qualm, with no problems. I'm always going to do it. And that's really important. And then, if it doesn't work to give referrals, connect people. I met a coach along the way. I don't remember where or when, but she said something to me that set it off in my brain. And it was, every time you meet with somebody for a coffee date or you meet with them online, make sure you send them 2 referrals. I was like, ooh, what a great idea. You know what happened? I met her at a coffee shop about a mile from my office. I came back. When I got here, there were 2 referrals in my email. And I looked at it and I said, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Neither one of those people wanted to buy insurance, but both of them were great power partners. So I've tried to do that ever since. I can't say I do it every time, but I try to always send one. We can always go back through our records and find one person There'll be a great connection, whether it's personally or business-wise, with the person you just met. So think that.
Jeff, I think people overthink qualified referral too. If you've been in business for a while, you can always think of, okay, this person does this. I know somebody else that does something similar. There's some crossover. They should at least touch base and get to know each other. So you make the introduction, and those can be great referrals. They might not have any business right now, but a year from now, they're probably working together.
Exactly.
So make the connection.
Yeah, if you think they go well together, do it. There's no qualification. It's just thinking about it. And then I changed my mindset. I think mindset to me as a coach is still a very big thing. And the mindset is from giving to receiving to learning and connecting. When you change that mindset, it changes the way you act. Because when you're going to a group or you're talking in a leads group online, all of a sudden you're trying to find out about the person, you're trying to find out about the business, and then you're trying to find ways to connect them. If it has nothing to do with what I do, I still connect. I don't stop on that. That's the greatest thing in the world, is when you can connect two people or two businesses and help them both out. How much better does it get? To me, that's the number one thing. I really don't care about giving and getting leads. I care way more about connecting. So a few tips. I've come up with these tips, and the relevance today is still the same as it has been. It's just sometimes a little bit different. Sign up. You want to commit to at least 2 networking groups each week. Now we'll talk maybe a little bit more in a minute about where that might be. But networking groups might be something as simple as getting online and finding a group. They might have a live chat once a week. You might be able to find groups like I Take the Lead. If you've got a good leads group in the area that have free meetings, you can go a couple times for free on Meetup or something like that. And then you end up with the ability to join. To me, the best type of group is one where you're vocationally locked in and there won't be another insurance agent or another merchant processor or whatever you happen to do. I know some groups say, well, let's have 3 of those people. And to me, that's a little bit harder. So who do I refer? Refer all 3. But you want to find groups that meet at times and locations or today on the internet that you can commit to. If you have a group meets at Tuesday morning at 7:45, and you go, well, I can do it three Tuesdays a month, but the 4th Tuesday I can't make it. Probably not a good fit. The problem with not showing up to something you join is that people don't trust you.
Yeah.
It's human nature. I can't trust.
And also, then you can't make it one meeting a month, then you get sick the other meeting, and so people think you're a flake. They don't understand. So you're right, absolutely right.
It has to be part of your routine. It's not that difficult. I mean, how many meetings do I miss, Becky? I've been around for a long time.
I know, you and Jeff, both of you are really steady, and yeah.
And it's really true. I mean, if you start missing things, I look at members of groups I'm in. We get people that do. They miss 2 out of 4, they miss 3 out of 4. They might as well not come because you might be getting referrals. I mean, honestly, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You're paying money for something you're not going to really be able to do. So commit to something that makes sense. Find groups that contain power partners. Organizations like I Take the Lead are really good for that because they do that intentionally. They set up their membership that way. And they build around 4 core power partners, and then build the groups bigger and bigger. And that by having that core, you have people you can automatically refer to. And that works out really well. So find people that you think you could do business with. If you don't have any in the group, I remember going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, a specialized Chamber of Commerce meeting, on holistic practitioners. And I was thinking, man, I get the insurance from all these people. But I couldn't relate to them very well. They weren't really interested. They thought I was trying to sell them stuff. It took a long time to get anybody in there. There was no problem. because they were all one location.
Yeah.
One thing. So you want to make sure you can find some power partners that will help you out right away, if not, sooner than later. Find groups that help you develop yourself and your business. The group is only there to give leads. If it's only there to build business, if they require that you give leads every week, I mean, I got to tell you, I really don't think that works. I think you really need to have the business development, personal development, the volunteering, the charitable contributions. I mean, those are the things that really build a strong group, is when you have people that do this.
The required lead, the groups that require leads, and it used to be, especially when meeting in person, I had a friend who was required by his company to go to those. And it turned to, when he pull into the meeting place, he's digging through business cards, trying to find somebody to make an introduction. There was no thought in that. It was just like, I've got something required. And it just doesn't work.
No.
And the stuff he got was mostly just a waste of time.
That's right. So tip 2, show up. We just talked about it a little bit. Be at every meeting. It's not that hard to do. Be there early and stay late, especially in person. On Zoom, that may not be as applicable.
Yeah.
It depends. Becky uses the admittance thing. In all my Zoom meetings, I leave it open so people can show up early. I always try to get like 5 minutes early just to talk to them, get to know who's there. And I always try to stay a little bit late. Sometimes it's hard, but I think even online you can do that. Be prepared and attentive. I think probably even worse on Zoom meetings now. And I find myself doing it. All of a sudden I've got 15 of these things coming in, and I'm like, this morning there's 4 of them. Everybody's telling me happy birthday. But it's like, it's really easy not to be attentive, but you really need to learn about that person and their business. You're really wasting your time because you need to know, like, and trust them. That's what they're telling you. Right? They're training you to be their sales force, and you're training them to be their sales, your sales. That's an equal thing because everybody in the group is going to help each other to go out and not only sell products, but to help them free. So that's what it's really about. You don't have to. I don't have to close Lynn's deal with each process, but I do have to be able to find the right lead. They don't use credit cards or not in a business that makes sense. I don't know who that is. Somebody, I'm sure, doesn't use credit cards. And then always, whenever you can, be a leader. Show up, be a leader. Be the person, if not leading the group, you're taking the attendance, you're doing something to help the group so that people get to know you, people get to refer to you. It's a whole lot easier 3 times during the meeting, Lynn's running the meeting, and says, hey, Jeff, or hey, Jeff, thank you for doing this, or hey, Jeff. Now, all of a sudden, we just go, who's Jeff? They're going to think more about you because you're a leader in the group. Kind of the same thing in school, right? There's the bad kid and the good kid. They both got equal time, but I'm not sure that the time in the principal's office helped the bad kid.
Yeah.
The third tip is meet up. So once you get to know some people and once you get to start learning more about them, you need to pull them aside and do a one-on-one meeting. Now, I used to say do it in person over a cup of coffee, schedule it for 20 minutes, a lot of rules about emphasis. But today, that's changed. Because a lot of times it's on Zoom. And a lot of times it's a little bit different because you have to learn how to do that one-on-one meeting on Zoom. It's a challenge. It's a good challenge. We all can learn it. But if you gather a stack of cards, Becky, has Chamber of Commerce experience, and I have a stack of cards. So I have this stack of cards, and I'm sitting here going, I met all these people this last month, this fall, and I go, what should I do with these cards? I could scan them and put them on my computer. I could give each of these people a call and say, hey, this is good. CJ, hey, CJ, would you like to get together so I can learn more about your business so that I can refer customers to you once a month? What's he going to say? He's going to say, sure. I'd love to get some referrals. You're going to meet with him. Now, I'd try today, I would do it over coffee. on the coffee shop that's open if you're able. But you can do it on Meetup just as easily. It works. What you want to do during that time is you want to learn about the person. You want to keep it short and meaningful. You know what happens? Anybody done it? Just raise your hand. You all have. You ever met with somebody and 2 hours later, you're still talking about the weather, the kids, the football game, whatever is the topic of the day. And you've
Yeah.
learned way more about them than you ever wanted to know.
Yeah.
And learned nothing about how to refer. That's the worst. And we all do it. I'm guilty too, both hands up. But, what we want to do is avoid that. So we want to keep things short and meaningful. We never, ever, on a first meeting like this, never want to sell. You ever had that happen? Oh, no.
Oh,
None of us have,
yeah.
I'm sure, where that person spends 35, 40 minutes. I pick on the MLM companies, the direct sales companies, but it's true. They're trying to make you a sale right there. I know you use laundry soap. You need to buy it from me, but I don't want to.
Yeah, networking is not how you're going to make quota. Networking is to meet people and build your business.
Not going to happen, right? So never a sales pitch on the first meeting. I've had it happen where people will say, I'd really like their insurance quote from you. And I always tell them, and sometimes I haven't told quite the truth, I always tell them, I've got somebody else coming in 10 minutes. Can we get together later in the day? Or can I give you a call after I'm done with my meetings this morning? I want to separate the two things. I've got networking mode where I'm trying to learn about you, and then I've got business mode where I'm trying to help you with what I do. Two different things. You don't want to confuse those. If you ever confuse those, it really gets confusing to the other person. They're not sure what you're doing, right? And we want people to know, like, and trust us, so hey, you need to do that. So here's that. I talked about this a minute ago. Connect everyone you meet with at least one other person you may know. Meet one to connect with. That's kind of my little goal that I've been using. If I meet one to connect one, I'm always going to be growing my relationships. I'm always going to be growing my database. I'm always going to be learning about more people and helping other people know more people. So just remember that one. There's things slow down, grab that stack of cards and start calling. Use that line. Hey, CJ, would you have time to meet with me so I can learn more about you and your business so that I might be able to refer people to you? No, of course they're going to say yes. They want business too. Everyone wants business.
Well, Jeff, can I ask you a question there? When things were more shut down, in the Vancouver area, were you meeting with these people via Zoom? Were you doing that? Okay.
Yep. I've met
Jeff,
with a
I would
lot
also
of
say, when you're meeting with somebody now, when you're offering to meet, give them the option to meet in person if it's safe, or on Zoom, because you don't know everybody's preference. They may be taking care of somebody who's elderly, immunosuppressed. They may not want to meet. So give them that option. Realize meeting or online is going to be the way we do a lot of business in the future. So it's good practice.
It is. And, a lot of people will just say yes or no. It's real simple. You don't have to fight about it.
Yeah.
You can do that. Let me send you a Zoom. I'm meeting a guy tomorrow. He's up in Longview, which is 45 minutes from here. And he said, well, I can drive down. I said, no, let's just meet on Zoom. Let's say this. We don't want to. So, that's fine. No problem. But one of the most important things about all this is to follow up. You want to ask if you can send them your newsletters. You never want to just assume they had a meeting with me, therefore they don't subscribe to your newsletter, whatever you send out. Nothing will make me mad. Go to spam quicker than that. I don't like it. And people just assume. That often you see it. Hey, keep track. Write it down. Write down some notes. Make sure you understand what they do, how they do it, who a good referral is. The things that you should know. I've got something I'll share with you in a minute. But the little form I use is pretty good. But you can have it. You don't have to use one. But just remember to keep it on track too, because the form helps you keep on track. And then follow up every 4 to 6 months. Just a quick note, a quick email, a quick phone call, just to see if they're still doing what they're doing. Have you ever referred somebody to you give them a card and say, this guy does what you need to have done? The guy calls you back and says, the phone number's disconnected.
Yep.
The email bounced. I go to his house and nobody's there. I mean, that's all bad news. So we don't want to send out bad referrals, right? Because that makes us look kind of, how many years ago was it? We don't want to look bad. So make sure that you keep in touch. And it's a great reason to remind them hey, I'm still here too. And then I try, and I'm not so good about it since COVID, but one-on-one, once a year, face-to-face group, just to update things, to see what's new. Well, that might be over Zoom today, but I think it's important to be face-to-face because that's a different response than on the phone. We don't have the same attitude about phone calls as we do looking at it. So a little more time, put on a little different clothes, we look a little better. Have you ever got on Zoom with somebody that just got out of bed, got their t-shirt on, and they look like they haven't combed their hair and lost right on their head? But the idea is that you're taking time to be special. You're taking time to do something. So I think getting in front of people face to face is really a good thing to do. Tip number 5, party. This is my theme today, by the way. Party group. And if you have a cause that you're pushing or promoting, it's really easy to have a big party because you can put it around that cause. Whether it's I take the lead in the golf tournament or whatever they're doing, whatever the group's doing, you can be part of the group, you can volunteer, you can build the group, you can have a party. And you want to celebrate our lives. You want to celebrate our hard times. You want to celebrate everything because it's really important that we really have some time together and we're not thinking about business. When we have mixers, parties, and gatherings, we're thinking more about, having a good time, getting to know you. We still want to know people. Our basic nature says we need to know somebody before we can refer to them. We're going to get comfortable. Quick way to do that is to put parties. When it's an open house, I think that's obviously slowed down. Customer celebrations, I used to do those every year. It's kind of slowed down the last 2 years. But when you do those types of things, it helps people do it. We were doing last year, year before, last 2 years, we're doing Zoom happy hour. Friday afternoon, Zoom happy hour. Everybody get your glass of wine and bottle of beer and drink and hang out for 35, 40 minutes. Talk about how the week goes, see how things are going. Great idea. Don't have to drive, not even in trouble. Have a glass of wine. Backward. No. But you can do something different, and you can mix it up. And you can be the leader of that. Maybe you take your cards out and invite 10 people that you met in the last 2 months and say, hey, how about getting together with us for half an hour, 4:30 to 5 on Friday afternoon? Well, I'm happy. If you want something to drink, bring it. We'll drink all together, but we'll talk about how the week was, how things went. All of a sudden, you start building this friendship. I've met a dozen people, not even thinking hard, in the last year yet. I wouldn't have met them if somebody hadn't had a happy one. It's soon happen. Great way to do it. Summary. You need to have a plan to that. Probably the biggest reason people fail at building their business, they fail at building their network. If you don't have a network of customers, you're never have a business. Because you're just going to have a book. You've got to have customers to do that. Best way to do that is to build a book. Networking should be fun, but it should have a purpose. I think one of the things that drives me nuts, one of the things, is when you go to a meeting with no agenda. You just are lost. As a guest, in particular, you're lost. You have no idea what people are doing or how they're doing it. Got to have that purpose. Leading capacities, do things that are important to all. And then, I always laugh at that first year and a half that I was in networking, I never got a lead.
Can you say that again, Jeff?
I never got a lead in the first year and a half.
Okay.
You have to remember that sometimes it's hard to give people leads. You have to remember that it could take. Don't give up. Don't say, I'm going to give this a week. If it doesn't work, I'm gone.
I know.
That doesn't work. We know people.
Yeah.
And if a particular group doesn't work, doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean you don't have a good product. It means the group didn't work. We'll find another. I think over the past 5 years, I've belonged to 20 different groups. And probably still have the same core of 4 or 5 we've had for a long time. I'll try to work one in every once in a while. Somebody will say, why don't you come to this group? Okay, give it a try. May or may not work. It's good fun. Just keep your mind on it. Something that doesn't work, you'll find another. And then looking for ways to connect. I was thinking about this morning. How many people, Becky's probably had this happen too, how many people I've met on a lineup? I didn't know what a lineable was 2 years ago. And I had somebody reached out to me off of it. I signed up for an account. But that's really there's a lot of people on there that are trying to grow their business. And it's a great little niche because you can kind of go in there and build a networking profile and say what you're doing. So if you haven't looked at a lineable, look at it. I think 8 or 9 people that I network with regularly now have come from me. It's a nice little niche to niche it down into your specific type of niche that you're looking at. Have fun, make friends, don't like people, that's all. Try. And finally, build a team that you know, like, and trust, because that's the best way to build your business. The people that you trust. Because then you have no issue with referring them. You have no issue with helping them out. You really want to help out each other, which is truly the bottom line. So that's me, and that's my email address. It's my personal. And right below there is a little form that I use for networking. I keep these when I fill them out in a book. And when I come back from a networking meeting and get off the computer for the networking meeting, I'll flip through that book and I'll find somebody that I can refer to the person that was met. And by having it in writing, it took me with notes, and there's 5 or 6 more questions there. But what those questions do is keep you on track when you are meeting. What they also do is they give you all the information, or most of the information you need in the first. I would be happy to send that. All you have to do is send me an email, that address, and I'll send you that networking form. Just fill it out and use it, whatever you want with it. You paper airplanes on it. Write people to know it, because it's a whole lot better to use it.
Taking notes is really important when you're meeting with people. Don't trust your memory. I got an email following a special guest speaker meeting years ago from the Spaghetti Factory that said, "It was really nice talking to you today. I think I can help you with your medical problems." Didn't talk to the person. They were on the other side of the table. I don't have any medical issues. And I let them know that. It's like, boy, you're close. I'm glad you got a stack of cards, but good luck.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Like, thank God somebody can cure me, whatever I have.
But you're cured, Glenn. You're cured.
Yeah. Jeff likes Lynn likes those kinds of meetings. So
they're fun.
Yeah. So Jeff, do you have time for questions, right? We've got
We've got a few minutes.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So does anybody have any questions for Jeff? Levi.
Yes, I do. So what, a couple of things. What are the qualities of a power partner, or a good power partner, or?
Yeah. So a power partner is somebody that we would refer business to you. or somebody that you can refer business to.
Okay.
So in my case, power partners for me, really good ones are realtors as an insurance agent,
Mhm.
mortgage lenders are great. Sometimes a banker, if you find a banker or a lawyer, lots of times lawyers, I mean, Becky makes me think of that with her announcements this week. The
Yeah.
lawyers have been referral because when people get divorced, they oftentimes have to separate their insurance policy.
Okay.
What kind of location are you in?
I am in the northern Colorado,
Okay.
like the Fort Collins area.
What do you do?
I'm a lender,
Really?
mortgage lender. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So you probably, real, realtors are probably your number one, power partner in
Mhm.
the gas.
And
They
financial
have to
plan,
have customers that you
Financial
want.
planners as well.
yeah, financial planners would be good because they're talking to people when they're getting ready to do loans, so they can be a great source for a lender. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool.
I know it's a strange one, but a midwife is another one. I had
A
a midwife
midwife.
in a group, and she was always referring to the mortgage lenders. People have a baby.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first thing you want to do when you're either having a
You
baby.
want a bigger home. Yeah.
Oh,
Levi,
very
I'm
cool.
a mortgage lender as well, and I
Nice.
also have a connection to a bankruptcy attorney because I mean that is so great when somebody they've gotten themselves into a pickle and maybe they need to refi to turn it around. So
Okay.
that's really satisfying to make that happen for them.
And if
Okay.
you know a
Thank
bank or
you.
a credit union that can do standard loans but can't do anything difficult,
Mhm.
they can throw you business that they can't handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Very, it's like another question.
Yeah, I have a good question. I just was curious. I'm a ghostwriter. It's kind of a weird deal, but I'm just kind of like wondering, like, okay, so what would what would you suggest my power partner would be? Because my niche is business, education, travel, and I'm like, so, and with religious studies and that stuff as well. So healthcare.
So depending what you're doing, Jared, a couple of things. One is coaches. A lot of coaches either want to write a book or they have written a book and they're helping you. If you're more of the business slant to it, a lot of times a website designer is a great power partner for you
Yeah,
because the
digital.
website folks will be out there trying to make the words right. And, they're great at designing sites, but they're not working. They can be creative businesses that they're trying to make that out. What else?
Well, I was thinking digital marketing, anybody that's doing any type of advertising.
Yeah.
It could be somebody like a print company. Somebody's doing printing might be able to utilize you too. So just a few. All you have to do is meet a few of those folks and then they can think about, oh, I know somebody you should meet. So it's all about making those first few touches and then it starts to build.
If there's more that when we get off this and you need more ideas, feel free to contact me. I'm sure we'll be happy to not spend a little time going through the process with your open.
And what was your email again?
Mine is Jeff.Mays.
.net.
US.
.us. Oh, okay. Jeff Mays.
Yeah, he got rid of the Canadian website, stuck with the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you. So Jericho, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. It's so funny. So I'm a lender too. I'm in Arizona. But my question is just because I've had this, so I've been in business now like 2 years on the sales side. When I jumped in, I was trying to help launch a networking group. It never really kind of took off. It was an exclusive group. There was a real estate agent in it that, he's a certain person's cup of tea. So like, my sweet little grandma or whoever, like when I don't think would work particularly well for this. So he found out I didn't refer someone to him, freaked out, dropped out of the groups, like, all this drama from it. And I don't even know how he found out I didn't refer him. Was recommending joining, is like several network groups. how do you maintain those relationships? Because I know, like BNIs and stuff like that, you're expected to send all your referrals to these people. And so with joining the different groups, how do you kind of maintain those relationships without people getting super upset when you don't? Because that's where I've kind of been hesitant on getting back into the networking because of that. Is just, I'm someone who, like you guys said, like, you look for that person you can trust, that that people are going to work well with. And that's how I typically refer. And so just kind of opening back up and, navigating that process strategically so that you do maintain relationships and they grow and it's not becoming drama.
In a case like I would do what Jeff was talking about. Just tell people the way you operate, you're going to give referrals to the group if it's a BNI, but say, I also refer other people. So like if somebody asks me for a financial planner, I tell them up front, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 names, meet with all of them, and you're going to have to find the person that fits with you. Just because I tell you you should work with A, B, or C, doesn't mean you're going to work with them. You may need to meet with multiple people to find a mix. The goal is you're going to be the type of networker who's going to find somebody for them. And if everybody knows you're doing that, they should have no problem with it. That's
Well,
making
BNI, depending on the group, though, you're expected to only give to that financial advisor in the group. So you don't want to be too open about that.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I take the lead's not like that, but unfortunately we don't have any groups there. So
Yeah.
Jericho, it could be that person you're referring to is just about drama. I mean, he's just a one-off. Just write him off. It's fine. That's his thing. That's not you. That doesn't have to affect you.
Yeah.
And Jericho, even in a group where there is a domineering personality or a distasteful personality, over time, that will either change or they will leave. Because if you took it that way, everybody else did too.
Yeah.
You're not unusual, but we've had that happen in groups where a person came in, they bought into the spot, and pretty soon they're not getting any referrals. And they go, why am I not getting referrals? Well, it's because you're not a nice person. And eventually they'll leave. Well, it's a cycle. What you don't want to do is lose the rest of your group. The rest of your group's really important. So you just got to remember when you go through that. People that are not nice and people that don't try to give rather than receive, they almost always burn themselves out for the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem like a really good person. I know you wouldn't be that way. So. But there's people like you just give. It's really hard, other than a real and a couple other people we talked about. It's really hard to refer to a mortgage lender because most of us don't hear about somebody buying a house until they bought it or almost bought it, and they've already been pre-qualified. So it's hard to do. So, keep that in your mind too. Our partner with realtors, find, or even if it's a young, inexperienced realtor, you can help them a lot by teaching them what they need to do on the finance side. So many of them are lost. So it's really important. So you got a lot of great value in what you do. You can build a network. You can build a mastermind group. Even if it's not a networking group, you can get together and mastermind on your businesses. A lot of this.
Do we have any other lenders here? Oh no, just Kelly and Jericho and Levi. I am curious because Jovet, I assume it's Jovet is from Arizona as well. And so April and Brian, where are you both from?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been on a Zoom in a while. So learning the ropes again here. What was the question?
Just where are you from?
I'm in Arizona now, and I was born and raised here.
Okay. And April, are you from Arizona too?
No, I'm new to the Las Vegas area.
Oh, okay, Vegas. Okay.
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah.
So not Arizona. I just came across it. I was looking for some new information to grow my business since I moved. So
Oh, very good. Very good.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Well, you're all that's our meetups. And so we actually had a group in Vegas as well. So yeah.
So Just out of curiosity, how many of you, just by raise of hand, how many of you are in a networking group? Awesome. See, everybody already knows this stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, you put it together, Jeff, and not everybody has the success you have. So that's why I wanted you to share your information. We had like almost 50 people register, and a lot of people said when they registered, I can't be there, but will I get the replay? So that's there were a lot of people who were interested. I think that's the most we've had register on one of these for a while now. So
Hey, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Is this the type of networking group where everybody in the group can just sort of like get I don't know 30 seconds to a minute to sort of like go through like give a little like intro,
not today.
to
No,
what they
this is a webinar. This is not one of those. But
Okay.
when we have a regular meeting, when I take the lead, we everybody has a 1 minute commercial, but we're actually ending. But we're a little over time now. So
Yeah,
this
then
is just a
everybody
webinar. Yeah.
Everybody does 10-minute presentations, so that's a great way to get to know people and people get to know you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So how do I get on that meeting? Which one is that?
We don't have them in Arizona. You can look for leads groups. Just Google leads groups in Arizona. There's BNI. There's different ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would Google look for something local. That way, if they meet in person, you can meet some people in person. And you have to try them out to see if they've got to fit with the people you like and you want to work with. There should be networking groups everywhere.
Yeah. So is that there's Jovette said networktogether.com. So they must have one in Arizona. So yeah, I know there are several different organizations in Arizona that do that. So Jeff, do you have any other words of wisdom you want to leave us with?
Well, of course. Hi, so long. No, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your time today. I know there's a zillion things to do. I never am able to get on these 3 o'clock webinars myself.
Unless I have you speak.
Unless you have me speak. And then I have to close the door and lock people out. But I really appreciate everybody being here. And I hope that you have a really good year in networking. And if you ever need a tip or anything, I put my name and number and address there, email it in the chat box. So, feel free to give me a call and drop me a note.
Yeah.
Happy to.
And if you didn't get it, when I send the replay, I'll send Jeff's information so you can reach out to him. So everybody can. So, well, thanks everybody. And we'll let you get back to your days, and glad you could all be here.
Thank you very much. And happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As always.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
Don't party
Well,
too much tonight, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Becky. I will, I promise. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Ellen.
Bye, Becky. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, no, I won't.
Oh.
Remember, I'll be.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'll be on the road. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you
Okay.
next week. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.